from the point of view of like, what does this actually mean for people who are building things on Ethereum? So probably the biggest news this year, right, is the merge is coming. So the merge is, so Ethereum switched to proof of stake. This effort that we have been working on for basically the last eight years, right? So the first blog post that we wrote about proof of stake was back in January 2014. And in the years since then, a lot of research has happened. In 2017 to 2018, we converged on what we call the beacon chain today, the version of proof of stake that we ended up actually implementing. 1.5 years ago, the beacon chain was actually launched. And so pretty soon, what's going to happen is this complete switch where Ethereum finally switches over to being a pure proof of stake system. And basically what happens there is Ethereum's application layer. So the applications, the smart contracts, balances, everything that is happening inside of Ethereum is going to be automatically moved off of the proof of work chain, which will basically just like stop being functional at that point and move over to the proof of stake chain. Right. So after the merge, Ethereum will finally become a proof of stake system. Yay! Now, the merge is only the first step in this fairly long and complicated roadmap that we have, right? So after the merge, there's a bunch of other things that we plan on focusing on, but probably the biggest focus immediately after the merge is going to come on scalability, right? So scalability is also a problem that we've been talking about, we've been complaining about, we've been thinking about how to fix pretty much since the beginning of the Ethereum project and even before the chain launched all those years ago. And it's something where we've been actively thinking about it. There have been a lot of groups that have been actively developing solutions. And there's a lot that has happened over the last couple of years in the layer 2 space in particular, right? So some of the roll-up projects, so projects like Optimism, Arbitrage, might have heard of ProtoDink Sharding. So this is one of the next big EIPs that is in the process of development and is coming to Ethereum after the merge. So basically, the goal of ProtoDink Sharding is to create what we call these data transactions that have these data blobs. And the point of this is to just increase, right? So this is so data compression in rollups. This is something that I've talked for a long time about as something that really needs to happen. Basically, trying to pack a much larger number of transactions into a much smaller amount of space, so that like we just get a big scalability gain for free, right? We can pack more transactions than it has been able to before, right? So what do these two things mean for Ethereum, right? So these are not the only two technical upgrades that are happening to Ethereum, but there's probably the two most important ones, right? But what does this actually mean for Ethereum from the point of view of someone using it or someone building on it? So starting off with the merge, right? So the merge is going to happen first. So Ethereum's energy consumption will be reduced by more than 99.9%. So it's big improvements, obviously. In addition to this, there's a bunch of ways in which proof of stake improves security, and also the merge opens the door to more upgrades, right? So at the same time as being a switch from proof of work to proof of stake, it's also an opportunity to kind of take some of the ideas that we've learned over the last 8 years and use that to really redesign what the different parts of the Ethereum chain. So like for example, the merge will also make Ethereum much more friendly to light clients, right? So today, if you want to access the Ethereum chain, most people generally use some wallet like MetaMask, and the way those wallets work is they talk to a server and they basically trust whatever answers the server gives them. So with light clients after the merge, once that tech is developed, you will be able to basically have a client that actually verifies the data that it gets back. So basically, the merge isn't just about the merge is also about other things down the line that the merge is going to enable. So that's the merge. ProtoDink Sharding, so opens up more data space, transactions will become cheaper, and compression means that transactions get even cheaper again, right? Cheap, 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 yay. I mean, I know there's, inflation and like 8.5%, and like gas prices are going up, but like here, gas prices are going down. So what can we do with a safer blockchain and cheaper transactions, right? I think this is probably the big question. So probably one of the big and really important things is just lower transaction fees are the thing and the only thing that can make blockchains affordable for anyone, right? So median income per day in Canada, at least according to the data at this link here, is about $113. So this is all in US dollars, just to kind of put all the different countries in the same unit. In Poland, median income per day is $42. In Mongolia, it goes down to $16. And in Zambia, it goes down to $4, right? So very big differences. And we can compare against these numbers average transaction fees on Ethereum for the last couple of years. Now, obviously, they've gone up and down a lot, but generally, they've been somewhere in between $1 and $20, right? Now, today, Ethereum transaction fees are fortunately a bit lower, but that's because we're in a bit of a bear market, at least relative to 2021. So that's obviously not something that we can count on, right? Like it's like basically, if if we see one of these bull cycles pop up again anytime soon, then even the cheap transaction fees that we see today, it's not going to happen, or fees are going to go crazy again, right? So that's on the Ethereum base layer, right? And if you take, let's say, the middle of that range, like we'll take about $5, then you can see how, to a lot of Canadians, it can be affordable to send blockchain transactions for a lot of applications. But if we're talking about like blockchains being this global thing that's supposed to, empower people who are not empowered today in underprivileged countries, then you can see how it starts looking less viable, right? Because we're talking about single transactions potentially taking up people's entire daily income. And one of the things that you actually see if you visit some of these places, as we have, right, is that a lot of the time people do love blockchains, they do love cryptocurrency. I should say they love cryptocurrency, but they don't love blockchains. That's probably the way to put it, right? Because what you actually see often enough is that people have cryptocurrency, but they have it in Binance wallets, right? Like you even see, entire ecosystems where it's just accepted that everyone has a Binance wallet, and like sending from a Binance wallet to a Binance wallet is the way that you make transactions, right? So why does this happen? Well, obviously, right? If the blockchain is too expensive, people are going to look for something else. That's like just a fact, and it's a fact that we have to deal with. And so, if we wants to have a world where like we can have blockchain activity happening without needing to trust centralized exchanges for everything, then we just have to learn how to make blockchains cheaper. Now, today with rollups, it's already sometimes 25 cents, sometimes less than 25 cents. And if you just like analyze what's going to happen as a result of the improvements to rollups that I mentioned in the future, then we're talking about potential fees of maybe 5 cents or maybe even as low as 0.2 cents. So massively cheaper transactions to the point where the on-chain transactions actually will become affordable for lots of people for whom they're not affordable today. Bringing back crypto payments. So this is an interesting idea, right? Basically, for those who here has been in the crypto space since at least 2013? Who here has read the Bitcoin white paper? Who here remembers the title of the Bitcoin white paper? Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, right? Like, back in the good old days, people thought blockchains were for paying people. So, yeah, right. So even like back in this picture, I'm curious. Does anyone recognize which city and this is from? It's not Toronto. It is. I believe this is actually Berlin. This is the Bitcoin Keys. Basically, it's this is there was an effort in 2013 where people tried really hard to like get a lot of people to move to one place and to get a lot of restaurants like in the same region to all accept Bitcoin at the same time. And there was like this big social movement where people were really excited about like just trying to get an in-person Bitcoin economy happening, right? And it started and it continued for some time, but fast forward, I've mostly kind of stopped about talking about these things, right? And I think one of the reasons why is basically because blockchains for in-person payments just stopped looking as attractive as it did before, right? And fees are just an obvious reason why, right? Back in 2013, one of the main arguments for why you should accept Bitcoin was fees, right? The argument basically was like, look, PayPal and the credit companies are very mean to us. They charge 29 cents plus 2.9% for transactions, and they charge even more if it's international. And so if you send a payment with Bitcoin, well, the transaction fees are 1 cent, right? And this was the argument, and this was like the pitch by which the first wave of merchant adoption happened. Now, since then, that argument has basically just become completely false. Now, if blockchains can scale, then guess what? The argument becomes true again, and so we're in a future where blockchains are cheap and we have even more network effects than we did before. So the question is, if we have much more scalable blockchains, can we actually bring back crypto payments? And I think it's something that's going to be worth trying, right? Now, crypto payments are something that exists in a lot of different ways, right? So there's crypto payments on the internet, right? Lots